What's going on, family? What's happening? Good to see everybody tonight. We always jump on. This is something we haven't done in a while. Man, good to have everybody tonight. Give everybody a moment to jump on and let us know in the chat who's watching, where you watching from. Hey, Deonis. Hey, Margaret. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Some of y'all got some funky names. I don't even know how to. Tim Long, I see that. And May Sharon, I see you. Thank you. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. All right, we're gonna get settled in. Jordan and all. Let us know. Hey, look, if you got a minute, since we starting in just a minute, as far as the discussion goes, if you know somebody that you could share this with real quick, tell them to come join us. If you remember, some years ago, we used to do Wednesday Wind Down. It didn't take so long. It was only about 20, 30 minutes. And so we're structuring this similar to that as well. So just let you know, we'll be on here for about 30 minutes or so. Got a special guest with us tonight, and I'm excited about. Good to see you, Sally and Nylene, I'm sorry, Cynthia, Jennifer. You know, guys, look, I'm going to just be honest with you as you're joining. And if you're not familiar with Bridge City Church, this may be a little different, but I can't see. so like I got to get way real close to see anything. So if I miss somebody, hey, Karen and Paula, if I miss somebody, it's because my glasses ain't working that well tonight. So that may just be the way it is. Just be the way it is. Hey, you can like and share. Yeah, can't see. You can like and share. That's the story of the game. Like and share. Hit that like button as many times as you want. Go ahead and love and all the good stuff. It's been a while since we've done a live, and so I'm excited to be with you guys tonight. Again, just one more. Well, we'll give it 20 more seconds. I do see a lot of our Big Bridge crew. Shout out to the Big Bridge crew that shows up on Wednesdays in our semester of Big Bridge, which will start back at Bridge City Church in June. So we're excited about that. All of my Big Bridgers, if we can say it like that. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Hey, as we get started tonight, I think I don't know. We got somebody behind the scenes producing this, so it's going to be a little different than normal. But do we have a poll for the audience tonight? Is there a poll? If so, let's put that up. I don't know. We talked about one. If not, I'm going to ask a random question just to get us. And I need your participation in the chat. All right. Make sure you participate in the chat. Okay. So the poll's not happening. We'll come back to that if it comes. Hey, look, here's the question for you. You got to type it in the chat. Are you ready? If you had 24 hours where food had no calories, what would you eat? Go ahead. Type it in the chat. You got 24 hours. Food has no calories. You can eat whatever you want. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have a sweet tooth, so it's probably going to be some kind of something sweet. Too many sweets send you to the dentist, and you have to go visit somebody you don't want to visit. But that would probably be mine. So let me know in the chat. You got 24 hours. You could eat whatever you want. Somebody said ice cream and cookies, bread, just plain out bread. I like that, Miss Sharon. That's great. So just some ice cream, mac and cheese with chicken mac and cheese. All right. We see that. Chicken mac and cheese, homemade carrot cake. Oh, that does sound good. Man, maybe somebody could make some homemade carrot cake. I think I can go for some homemade German chocolate cake is what Tim says. German chocolate cake. Who else got something you're going to eat because you don't have to worry about no kind of unlimited amount of Drizzleicious. All right. Berry flavor. I'm very specific. It sounds like you've eaten that before. Everything shrimp. Okay. Like shrimp on the Barbie, shrimp cocktail, what Bubba Gump shrimp, whatever it is, whatever it is. All right. All right. Hey, good. So just thinking about that as we roll into this tonight. Oh, Nylene says she allergic. Me too. I wouldn't eat any shrimp. Okay, now we got some more. Miss Verona says lemon cake, chicken and dumplings. Miss Sally, Deanna said a good steak. Yes. Yes. Remind me sometimes. I'll tell you guys a story of a good steak, but it was a little different anyway. The stories of food. The stories of food. Cheesecake is always good. Cheesecake is always good. Hey, look, okay, so I want to talk to you guys tonight about something really important. We're calling this resilient rhythms. And the whole idea behind this, is to build a life that is not easily broken. All right? Like not easily broken. And so tonight and over the next couple of weeks, we're going to, every Wednesday in May, we're going to be right back here at 8:00. And we're going to talk about some of these things. I was at a restaurant today, and this got me thinking about food. All right, guys, at a restaurant eating with a good friend of mine, and this is one of the few restaurants that have a salad bar. So I was like, bet this is going to be great. Got my salad, sat down, and I'm watching this other guy, and he gets his salad, and I ain't kidding you, his plate was absolutely full. Like he just kept on piling on. I think he got every item in the salad bar, right? And I was watching him, and he was carefully with two hands walking back to his table. His plate was full. And that's what I hear from a lot of people. My plate is just so full right now. And you know, that's not your dinner plate. We're talking about your life. And I got to thinking about this, and I thought, if we're going to build a life that can't be easily broken, then we gotta reset our pace. Because I think that our pace is a bit too fast. And as I was thinking about this, and I saw this plate being so full, I actually have had some of you have told me this. I've heard it from people outside the church, inside the church. My plate is so full. And maybe your physical life like is really full right now. If you got young kids at home and you're having to shuttle them everywhere, you're having to, do mama and daddy duty and all the stuff that comes with that, or teenagers in the house that don't drive. And so you're having to take them places. Your plate could be full in a physical sense. Maybe you have a demanding job and your boss is calling you all the time. I don't know. Maybe you are the demanding boss. Maybe we got to change it. Maybe there's some, maybe you're like me. We have like 6 or 7 birthdays in May. And so just having a big family can seem like my plate is full sometimes physically, right? And in those times, I really believe that margin is really important, okay? Margin is really important. But I got to thinking about this. And yeah, while our schedule and our calendar may be full, like physically, the pace of our life, maybe at 85 miles an hour, I believe our mental pace may even be more overloaded. Not just our calendar, but maybe what's making us feel overwhelmed and tired isn't just our physical pace. Maybe it's our mental pace as well. I was reading the scripture, and it stood out to me that this is one of my favorite stories in the Gospels about Jesus. and it's found in Mark chapter 6. It's a short scripture, but it's a big story. Mark chapter 6, verse 31. And Jesus tells his disciples this. He says, let's go off to a quiet place and get some rest. Let's go off to a quiet place and get some rest. What's interesting about this, Jesus was carrying some grief. He just had heard that his cousin was assassinated. All of the disciples just came back from ministry tour, and they were telling Jesus all the good things that was going on. And Jesus says to them, let's get somewhere where it's quiet so we can rest. And I find it interesting that Jesus ties together this idea of rest and quiet. And I just wonder, maybe we could feel a little more rested if we could quiet what's going on in our heads. All right. So that's what I want you to think about tonight as we welcome our guest, my good friend, Dr. Jason Rowland, author, preacher, teacher, educator, professor, all the good stuff. Dr. Rowland, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for letting me be here. I was just sitting back enjoying hearing you talk. So,
hey man, I know this is something that you and I have talked a lot about with rest and just what that looks like in our everyday life. And thinking about this and thinking about the pace, that's what really caught me, is the pace in our mind. So what do you think when it comes to rest? And if you don't know, Dr. Rowland, he does this about rest. He talks to leaders about rest in a large capacity. So we're going to get some insight that's going to, if you will apply it, I bet it will absolutely help you in your life. But what do you think so many people feel mentally exhausted right now? Why do you think that's so?
Definitely our society, our culture, our generation. And I talk about our generation, but generationally, there are generations that push being constantly busy. You know, our culture, the capitalistic culture, the hustle culture, the push for success, that you always have to be successful. It is a constant little enemy, I guess you can say, on your shoulder. That's always there, that's pushing for constant work, constant availability. And also our technological culture puts us there as well, where we have to be on 24/7 and have to constantly have information coming into us 24/7.
Yeah. I was reading some, actually not reading, I actually heard a podcast, and this guy was talking about how our brains, it's almost like the old school computers that can't process because there's so much information coming in. It's almost like our brains can't process it. And I was reading a couple of things that we absorb or have to process 6,000 to 10,000 ads a day. And that's, I mean, we're just talking about the outside, right? That we're having to think about this. How many notifications do you get a day? And I know there's some more than others, but they say it's north of 125 notifications a day where we're constant on the go. I found this really intriguing. And working in the church world, this is a little different. But they said employees switch task some 300 times in a shift. So it seems like there's never any focus.
Exactly. However, we're supposed to be putting 8 hours in of work. And if the notifications are not coming in, then there's this fear of you're missing out. So what we're doing is constantly just checking. Right. Did I miss an email? Did I miss a text? And we're just constantly on that. And I believe that many people take that in. Well, what I'm finding out, and this is how it is we just don't leave work. We just take it in a different form.
Right.
And so with that, I have found also
that's
that a lot of us don't take vacations. We just change zip codes where we work at.
Yeah.
Instead of going on vacation, we just take work with us and change our zip code. And
Yeah.
so with that, yeah, I mean, we're in this culture that just constantly feels, that puts it on us to constantly be available constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I sense that too, and know that sometimes, and I think that's what Jesus was talking about. Like, let's go away. let's pull away from all of this stuff so it's quiet and restful. When you talk about rest, and I know you've done it in leadership capacity and with your students and education, what do you think most people misunderstand about resting?
Rest is not only physical, but the majority of it is for you to be mentally relaxed.
Yeah.
And also, when we talk about the computers and all of that, there is a scientific term. I encourage people to Google this, called the default mode. And when we are at a complete state of relaxation, that is what scientists call default mode. And I don't think that a lot of people are able to get there. And let me just share this, that usually when people are in that default mode, that also equates boredom. So I like to ask leaders, when is the last time you've been bored? And usually no one can answer that. They think about that. Right. And I also teach that when it comes to resting, I in my presentations, I talk about it being learned, and I have really been wrestling with that. I believe resting needs to be relearned, because as children, we didn't have a problem resting. We didn't have a problem playing outside. We didn't have a problem drawing and coloring outside the lines, being creative. And now we're finding out that we're so busy that our boredom is never turned on. Our default mode is never turned on.
Yeah. I think our default mode, like you said, we need to shift it back. I think it's changed that we feel more comfortable, or I guess feel comfortable being busy and uncomfortable being bored.
Correct.
For some reason.
Very uneasy being bored.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
It creates some anxiety.
Very much anxiety and very much guilt.
Yeah.
You and I were in recent conversations that we recorded, and in conversations, and you talk to people from our generation about how it was imposed upon us by the older generation to never be lazy, per se, lazy, which equals really rest, never sleep in. If you're not doing anything, there was this constant, hey, you got to be doing something. And then that put us in this thing where, we always have to be busy.
Yeah. So it sounds like, I could possibly get 8 hours of sleep and wake up the next morning and still roll out of bed and feel tired.
Yes. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time where your watch, you track your sleep and it says, oh, you got plenty of 8 hours of sleep. Good for you. Yeah. But because of our minds and resting mentally, we just don't know how to do that. So what would you say to someone, as far as their mind is busy, what would you say is a practical way that you've seen for folks to, hey, this is a good way to practice rest mentally in that pace in your mind?
The number one thing that I have found that people really need to institute into their lives when they're relearning how to rest, and I use that term relearning, is the use of boundaries.
Oh, wow.
Learning when to say no. Yeah. Learning that at 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock that work has got to end. That it's got to conclude. I will not do this after this time. I will not, and just implement those boundaries.
Come on, I'm clapping it up right now. Y'all need to clap that up in the chat.
And I'm finding out that I had someone in my office yesterday. that actually I was speaking at an institution last week that she used to work at, and I usually use her in a lot of my presentations because one day I was walking in on campus, parked my car, got behind her, and her arms are just filled with all this paperwork, and she's dragging all these papers behind her. And I said, "What are you doing? Why are you taking work home with you?" And she said yesterday, she said, "I have really learned to keep work at work and home at home." Think about that.
Work at work, home at home.
Think about that.
Love it.
Live in a society where I mean, there was a time, and we don't remember this, and I'm worried about younger generations, what they have learned is that we lived in a society where work used to be at work, and people from work never called you or contacted you or emailed you. Think about that. I know today that is almost unheard of, but I have found out that people, when they get bored, they immediately, if they even inching of boredom, they pick up their phone to check their work email because they wonder, did I lose anything? Did I miss anything? Do they need me? Or where can I contribute, even though it's Friday night or Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning?
Right. Boundaries are huge in this.
Correct.
And I often have told folks, look, your boundaries say to the world that you're human.
Mm-hmm.
You're not superhuman, that you don't have infinite strength and wisdom and everything else. And so setting those boundaries up says, hey, this is where I'm off.
Yeah.
I don't pick up my phone during this time, or I don't do this. I don't take my work home. I love that. Work at work, home at home.
Yes.
You to tattoo that on you.
Yeah. Those who are Downton Abbey fans love the phrase that was used. I can't remember the character that said it when she, in the early 1900s, she turned to her family. She says, "What's a weekend?" Well, honestly, we don't even know what weekends are anymore.
Right.
Yes, we're away from work, but we haven't really stopped. We don't even stop slow enough to and the thing is, sometimes we physically stop, but sometimes this is not allowed to stop. And remember, rest is not only physical, it's also mental and emotional. If you're not slowing those things down, you're not really resting. So what happens at night, people sleep physically, but they don't rest emotionally or mentally. So what they do is they just carry the stress all through the night and wake up with it the next day.
Right. And your body tells on you because you got this knot in your shoulder or something, crazy.
True. Absolutely. And truly that there's a book out that I will steal the title, Your Body Keeps Score.
Yeah.
So then people want to know, why am I sick? Why is my back hurt? Why am I what am I going through? Your body is telling you, hey, I'm exhausted. And we need to listen to our bodies. Yeah.
And to bring this back to that scripture, one of the things I see repeated in Jesus's life is he had a rhythm, right?
Yes.
Of going away and coming back, going unplugging and plugging back in. And really his unplugging was plugging into something else that, his Father, prayer, to feed off of, or feed his spiritual sense. But there was this rhythm, a flow in his life. You don't see Jesus overindulging in some of these capacities as we do today. And I think that's what folks need to hear is that whole idea is that your body can rest, but if your mind's not resting, you're out of rhythm.
Correct.
You're out of rhythm. And we got to realign if we're going to be resilient. And I think you said it at the beginning, and I think the culture plays a lot into, and I know a lot of people, I talk to folks and you probably have too, and they say, well, I don't watch the news. I don't, and I'm like, okay, but you scrolling, so you still picking up on a lot of the negativity that the world, the culture that we're sensing. You go to the gas pump and it may not hurt you financially, but because you've heard something,
Yep.
It's painful to squeeze that.
And sometimes there's a screen right there giving you the news and information right there. Yeah. You know, and so we can't get away from things. And if we don't have a rhythm, like coming home and leaving work at work and coming home, that's a rhythm.
Yes.
And the thing is, we live by rhythm. We're creatures of rhythm. You know, and if you don't believe me, then watch when you brush your teeth every day, or get your coffee every day, when you fill up every week, when you attend this every week, or go here every week. Work is a rhythm, you know. So we live in patterns of rhythm. So we've got to put in those instill things of rhythm into us. And this is when I say sometimes resting is relearning. Sometimes we've got to relearn that, hey, like again, this theme of work, let work be work. That could be a major thing, boundary that someone can do right here tonight, is say work is going to be work and home is going to be home. And when I'm at home, I'm going to be 110% present, not just for family, but also for myself, you know? And then when the weekend comes, enjoy the weekend. And also don't forget that God already gave us 52 weeks off a year. I mean, 52 days off a year. And it's called the Sabbath. You know, it's the Sabbath. And we forget that. Jesus told us that God made that for us, not that he made us for that. You know, he said, he created it. And, you know, God is such a good leader that he created the pattern for us in Genesis chapter 1, you know, of showing us that. And then today we don't do that, but we forget as part of the 10 Commandments, you know? And so, you know, with that, I know that for myself and my wife, Karen, it is a pattern for us every week to do the Sabbath. And I'm going to break some news here today to share something that I want to blow people's mind. There is only one thing you've got to do on the Sabbath, and that's rest. There's no rules. There's no agenda. There's no legality. No one can tell you how to rest. I don't want you telling me how to rest. All you've got to do is rest. And how that looks for different people is different things. And so, and that's that. There's no other requirements for the Sabbath except for resting.
And I just want to echo what you said earlier. Resting is not just physical. So taking a nap is good. But if we can't learn to rest our minds, and I always encourage people, look, if you're going to try a Sabbath, which I think is, we practice that. It's essential for my health. If you're going to try that, it's something that you got to get into a rhythm with, because as you know, to go long with it, it's going to take more than 1 or 2 days to get that going. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to do this next week, and if it don't change my life, you know, a 180, then I'm not going to do it no more. You gotta commit to it and say, I need to change this rhythm, and you can begin to watch how your life begins to adjust, how those boundaries start forming around you, how these things where your mind is busy, and then you just notice one day, wow, seems kind of quiet up there.
You know, Karen and we've been practicing the Sabbath since around 2014, and we don't have it perfect. After all these years, we've almost got it perfect for us. And you know, like I said, you know, don't listen to anyone about what you should do on the Sabbath, because that's between you and yourself. What you do, you just need to find your rest. And resting is not napping, it's not sleeping all the time. It could be creative things. So that's a whole nother thing. But the thing about that is that my favorite day of the week is not the Sabbath. It's not Sundays. And this is breaking news. Never has been Sundays. Okay. I love, and I mean for years have always loved Mondays. Because the Sabbath, and I was thinking about this today, knowing getting ready for this, I've been in meetings for 2 days straight, you know, the whole thing. I could not wait to get to my office today, because I had been in 2 days of meetings. But really today was my Monday, because I like to come back from the Sabbath. And I mean, it's hard. even on the Sabbath, not to kind of prepare yourself for work or
get your mind going.
get your mind going. It really is something you have to learn. But I love Mondays because the weekend as well as the Sabbath. And I always say, this is what I say. People need one day off and one Sabbath. Okay. One day off to do some errands, do chores or whatever. But if that's work for you, don't do it on the Sabbath.
Right.
You know, and I know that I know that you shared before that you like to mow the grass, and that's a restful thing for you. That is a great thing for you to do on the Sabbath because that is restful for you. It gets you to think. Yeah, it's a beautiful way to rest. That's why you cannot be legalistic or lawful about it. You know, Jesus said this. He said, "It is lawful on the Sabbath to do good." You know. And I think you gotta find what is good for you. I believe, and this is something I've been really meditating on recently about the Sabbath, is I think that the Sabbath allows us to focus not only our relationship with God, but also with relationship with humanity.
Yeah.
And to realize, because when Jesus said that, he turned to the Pharisees and said, look, if you've got an oxen in the ditch, you know, so how much more is it better to heal on the Sabbath, meaning with people?
Yeah.
And so it makes us to be available to our brothers and sisters, humankind, to say, hey, we're available. We're here. I want to be here for others.
Yeah. 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 And again, you could do that with a rhythm, right? It becomes part of the rhythm of your life. Okay. So I'm going to ask the chat. I want to ask our audience to get ready. I want to ask you a question. Now, you may have to be a little vulnerable. Dr. Rowland, can you see the chat?
I can.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask this question. What's been the loudest thing in your mind today? What's been the loudest thing in your mind today? Whatever it is, we want to just be a little vulnerable and say, you know, hey, here's what's been the loudest in my mind today. Or you could even say, you know, it's Wednesday, so this week would be fine. But what's been really loud in your mind today? It usually takes a couple of minutes or seconds at least to somebody. You know, I don't even know. I think some of mine. I was trying to think about this as I was asking this question. Just loud in my own head it seems like it's always around work.
Yep.
It's always prepping for something.
Mm-hmm.
My schedule is completely full every night until like the weekend after next. And so it's this and this and this and this. Karen said it right. It's work, prepping to start all this stuff. It gets really loud. Preparing emails and work, preparing for work. What am I going to make for dinner?
It sure says students not doing their work.
Right. Students not doing their work. Yeah, because Sharon, a teacher, coming to the end of the school year, you know, so that and all these housework. Yeah. Especially if you got a busy family. When's the laundry get done? Right.
Yeah.
When do these things get done? Let's see, some of the parents and grades. Yeah. All these things happening at one time. And look, all these things that you're seeing that are listed right now, steal your rest. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Rowland, I know you could probably speak a little more into this, but good things could steal your rest. If it's clouding up and bogging up your mind, the good things, because most everything I think about Erica, a single mom, thinking about dinner, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's still, if we don't learn rhythms, right, then it can still be a challenge to cause some pace that is not healthy in our mind, and we become overwhelmed.
Yeah.
In that,
you know, think about, I would, encourage people to consider tomorrow evening. Think about tomorrow evening. How can you purposely tomorrow put a boundary stop where work definitely ends,
Yeah.
and your personal life, whatever that looks like, being shopping, cooking, cleaning your home, or just Netflix and chilling.
Yeah.
What does that look like, and what needs to be done for the day to conclude, and the enjoyment of personal time again. And then take tomorrow night and let that be your um, kind of guinea pig. Let me see what I can do for this. See what works, what doesn't work, and then maybe Friday night may be more easier to do something like that because it is that way. But then next Monday night, start over again. How can I allow work to fade out and be able to do that? What people will find is, hey, I'm going to allow the stress of my work to be at work,
Yeah.
and then and I have found I enjoy work better because I don't bring it home.
Right.
When I arrive at work, that's when work arrives to me. And
Yeah.
when I leave work, that's when work leaves me. And
Yeah.
so, and I can leave everything there. We have a 24-hour email policy. So I know I've got till the next day to respond back to any emails. And I do that first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
But I am not going to check emails at home. You email me, and I tell my students, you're going to email me at midnight, I will see it the next day. But also, if you email me at 5:30 p.m., you're not going to hear back from me till the next day.
Yeah.
They know that. I prepared them for that.
Yeah.
But one thing they know is I'm going to email them back. And so
Yeah.
I have created that with communication and boundaries to be able to do that. And so I would encourage people, take tomorrow night and covet tomorrow night if you can. You may already have responsibilities. Then maybe do that at a near maybe Friday evening or Monday evening. And then, hey, let's enjoy the weekend.
Yeah.
If you may have opportunities already that are coming up this weekend, some of you may need to say no to them. Now, not everything, but you've already obligated yourself to things and you really didn't want to do it. Let me tell you something. I know it's hard, but put the tongue at the top of the mouth and say no, and be able to do that.
That's
and that way you're going to give to yourself back,
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it, man. I sure appreciate your wisdom tonight. I have a framework that for like when your mind gets really busy, what I find is sometimes I get captured on one thing, right?
Yeah.
And it just runs and runs and runs. And we're gonna provide a link. There it is right there. And we'll put that if you could put that in the chat as well. You can download this PDF, and it's just to reset some of that goes on in your mind, especially if something's really loud that's causing a lot of stress, negative thoughts that bog you down. And it's a real simple framework that starts with this idea of naming it. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that if we won't acknowledge, we cannot realign. And we have to acknowledge sometimes that there are things in our head that don't need to be there, that we've given space in our mind for things that are unhealthy, that are not setting boundaries, and we need to name what they are. And then if you can name them, then you may be able to interrupt them. And that's the next part. And part of that is, unplugging. One of the things I learned, Dr. Rowland, some time back, and it was so powerful to me, going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And if you're really busy and your schedule's full, one guy said that he takes like 2 to 5 minutes between each meeting to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So he's exiting one meeting, leaving it there to go into another meeting. Yep. And all he's doing is interrupting that pattern and setting another rhythm. And sometimes we got to do that in our mind, and we can do that through breathing. I think is a really strong silence, unplugging from your phone, but you got to interrupt that. And then I think too, what you said tonight is a truth that we got to have. And sometimes we need to rehearse this in our own mind. Work at work, home at home. Set some boundaries. Tell yourself, rehearse it. Replace those old thoughts with some new thoughts. I believe a good mind is a directed mind, and it's not just going off everywhere. you're directing your mind where to go. And I'm working at work and I'm home and at home. And this is the boundary in which we're going to set, which I think is really, really important.
Can I say one thing right
yes,
quick about that?
Please.
Is that if you're listening to this, I'm going to do something creatively with what I'm about to share. If you're listening to this and there was a yeah, but at that, then this really was for you. And I think when I speak with people and work with leaders about rest, I hear that all the time. Yeah, but. And when they say that to me, that is a pinpoint that, yes, this is an area we need to direct our focus on. So if you're listening to this and watching this and you've said to yourself, yeah, but this has been talking with you.
This is for you tonight. This is for you tonight. Reset the pace. Reset the pace. It is so very important. Dr. Rowland, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming on tonight. We greatly appreciate you. BCC appreciates you. And I know the community as a whole appreciates your leadership and everything you're able to share into us. And we're going to take that with us tonight. Work at work, home at home.
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Take care.
All right, folks. God bless you. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. As I said, we're going to be doing this every Wednesday. I'm going to have a guest on next week. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but get ready. It's going to be another great time to talk about resilient rhythms, things that help us to become unbreakable in a world that I'm telling you, it feels like all the time it's always trying to break us, and this pace can absolutely break you. The pace in your mind, the pace in your schedule can break you. So I'm going to encourage you to practice what you heard tonight. Don't just be hearers, but be doers. Let's put some of this in motion and say, you know what? I'm going to try this tomorrow night. I'm going to set one boundary. What's one boundary you can talk about and set tomorrow night? One boundary. I'm turning my phone off at this time. I'm not going to check my phone. I'm not going to pick up my phone and check emails after this time. One boundary that I can just start. If you want to see change in your life and the rhythm, and that's what we want to change. If we want to see it, it takes consistent conviction. It takes consistent conviction. So I want to encourage you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is going to be wonderful throughout the month. If you know somebody that can use some of this, this is going to be on Facebook and YouTube. So God bless you guys. Share it with somebody. Give some love in the chat. Thank you guys again for joining us tonight. We love you. I want to tell you, I tell folks this all the time. You're valuable. You have a purpose and you are loved. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Good night.